call this court to order on November 19th, 2011 at 1:32 p.m. We will be hearing the case of Man vs. Death and Greed. Prosecutor, please open up the trial with your opening argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are here today, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to give a fair trial to Death and his cohort Greed. However, I find their actions so heinous and unforgivable that this should be impossible.
Objection.
Overruled. Continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. I mean, tricking three fine, upstanding young men for indulging in urges so very attractive. It is for this reason, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that the despicable defendants, Greed and Death, should be punished to the fullest extent of the law.
Shut up. Defense attorney, state your case. Make it good.
Thank you, Your Honor. My clients, Death and Greed, hold the right to be innocent until proven guilty, a right provided to them by the U.S. Constitution. Applies to anyone within this fine nation.
Objection.
Sustained. Defense attorney, might I remind you to stay on topic?
Thank you, Your Honor. 1,000 pardons. Now, as I was getting to, my clients, Death and Greed, are two fine, upstanding gentlemen. There is not, I say, there is not one iota of evidence to say otherwise about these fine men. The men that they tricked, these criminals, had every right and every will to refrain from activities so foul, yet they did not. I say they did not. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Objection. Flattering the jury.
Sustained. Watch yourself, Mr. Attorney. I'll hold you in contempt. This trial shall now resume. Prosecutor may now begin your questioning.
Oh God, how long is this going to drag on for?
I ask that the jury please settle down. Now, Ms. Prosecutor, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would now like to call Mr. Death to the stand for questioning.
Come on now, this way.
Don't touch me, dirty scum. I'll get it.
Every time with you, Death. Please place your right hand on the Bible.
That's a DVD of Starsky and Hutch.
It's a Bible as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I'm not touching that.
Your Honor.
I guess I'll allow it.
All right then. Mr. Death, it has been said you took part in leading those three men to their demise.
I would say that is completely valid.
Order in the court.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Death, have you any excuse for your actions?
I have none. Excuses are not within my reason. I was merely going about the task set before me, just as I had done with the man that they were supposedly avenging.
Well, I believe I'm finished here.
Defense attorney, would you like to cross-examine your client?
I see no need, Your Honor.
Okay then. Well, Ms. Prosecutor, do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Mr. Greed to the stand.
Mr. Greer, would you please approach the bench at this time?
I assure you he is here, sir, but I too am confused as to what he may be hiding.
I'm sorry, Miss Prosecutor, but I see no other choice but to move on.
I have no other witnesses to call upon.
Very well. Well, unless your opponent has anything to add, we can simply wrap this up a bit quicker than we expected.
I believe I'm all set, Your Honor.
That's it. We will now proceed with any closing arguments the counsel wishes to make clear. Ms. Prosecutor, if you will.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as fine, moral members of this wholesome society, I trust you will make the correct decision here. To penalize the defendants to the full penalty of the law, killing three innocent men and tempting them with sins to devilish is a crime most despicable and heinous, as I have previously mentioned. Please, I beg of you, I plead to your moral compasses and senses of decency. From the bottom of my heart, hang the rascals!
Yeah.
Very good. Now, Mr. Defense Attorney.
Seeing as I don't have a flair for pandery as my esteemed opponent possesses, I will hope to drive a more sincere point home, you fine gentlemen.
Ooh.
Now, hear me out. You see, the one thing you're all failing to take into consideration during this trial is the point of view of my clients. You cannot fully understand a man's point of view until you've walked a mile in his shoes. I hope to appeal to your consciences over majority rule when I tell you, death is not a man with a scythe in his hand. Death is knowing you're dead to begin with, but you see it through no matter what. Did I mention that I'm Atticus Finch?
Yeah, and I'm Grendel's mother.
And I'm Beowulf.
And I'm Huck Finn. Well, now the jury will proceed to its quarters. As for the rest of you, we'll meet back here in an hour recess.
Can we get on with this already? I need to get home soon.
Relax, people. Alright, so let's begin compiling what we know.
Well, we know Death is guilty, right? I mean, he didn't even try to defend himself. Yeah, I totally agree. So, are we finished?
Hey, hold on here. Death may have led those men to their death, but as the DA stated, they ultimately set their own fate with their greed.
That reminds me, who doesn't show up to their own trial? Yeah, this guy must know he's guilty, right? I mean, he's the one that turned the men against each other for the money.
Well, hold on. That was all due to the men's personal wants. I don't understand how some other entity could cause them to behave that way.
We better be getting paid for this. Greed was clearly the culprit. I mean, he forced the three men avenging their friend to fight each other and ultimately kill each other.
See, I disagree with almost all of that. Think about the three men's initial intentions. Were they really pure to avenge the death of their friend? What did they hope to gain by killing Death, who's simply doing his job?
That's true. Killing Death isn't really a pure action, and Death's action were clearly in self-defense. Alright, so Death's off the hook. This scumbag Greed is another story. I mean, we haven't even seen this guy. The thick-brained DA claims he was in the courtroom at some point, but clearly he wasn't. Yeah, but why would he just blatantly lie about that, and why would Death show up without his partner?
What if he was there and simply didn't know it?
You don't make any sense. Can't we just find them guilty and go home?
This is what I mean. Maybe we need to rethink this in a different manner. What if Greed has been around us all day and is around us all day, but we just don't notice him?
Where are you going with this blasphemy? I think I see where he's going. What if Greed is not a physical entity, but rather something that's inside all of us?
Those men acted out of their own volition. It wasn't some demon that possessed them. Their actions came from their own greed that built up inside of them due to a lack of self-restraint.
But what would that mean? I see what you're saying, however crazy it may be. But then who is guilty of these charges?
Now that we're all settled, has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. We define the defendants, Death and Greed, not guilty on all charges.
Interesting. I understand that this does not follow normal proceedings, but could you by any chance explain your reasoning?
Well, we came to the conclusion that Death was merely doing his job. Yet the men could have resisted him if it were not for greed, which brought us to him. And we concluded that after our discussions that the ones guilty of the crimes were the men themselves, not greed. For greed is merely a human trait that's within all of us. If the men had not succumbed to greed, then their deaths would not have occurred. However, they gave in to the wants of worldly possessions, and thus fate took their lives.
I see. Well, I guess greed may be a tough foe, but that's one's own fault for lacking the prowess to overcome his enticement.
Hold on, one sec. Yeah, God? It's for you, Death.
Hello? Really? Right now? Oh, that's convenient.
Somewhere,
Swag.
somewhere waiting for me. My lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sailing. Somewhere beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high.